While it has been an honor to acknowledge the success of the people being recognized tonight and those recognized in prior ceremonies, and while I've had a fair amount of practice speaking from this podium, obviously for me tonight is completely different. And if you, like me, assume that 25 years of participation in these inductions might prepare me for tonight, you, like me, would be wrong. At this moment, as I look around, I can tell you that no amount of practice could have prepared me for tonight. I can only hope for the clarity to comprehend how, on top of everything else that hockey has already given me, a moment of this magnitude could even be possible. To imagine myself as a permanent part of this magical place is overwhelming, and I am thrilled to be enshrined in this hall with this exceptional group of honorees. So thank you to the Hall Selection Committee, and in particular its chairman, John Davidson. If I had to guess in hockey terms, the scouting report on me would be something like this: lousy skater, not much of a shooter, you're not going to outwork him, he'll be strong in the corners and in front of the net, and he will take a hit to make a play. Speaking of taking a hit to make a play, I think everyone knows that my public appearances get an energetic reaction. I get booed when I present the Stanley Cup, particularly to a road team, but even from the home team, and at the draft. I even managed to get booed in Las Vegas before the Las Vegas Golden Knights ever played a game. So let there be no doubt, tonight should erase any claim that election to the Hockey Hall of Fame is a popularity contest. Rather, I hope my induction is a testament to what is clearly a collective contribution. To be honored by the Hall reflects the collaboration of so many people, and I'm not going to be able to name all of them. I will name some, there'll be examples, but the list would be in the 100. So, if you don't hear your name, please do not be offended. I start by thanking my teammates, everyone on the league staff who worked so hard to build hockey's global standing. For more than 20 years, Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley has been an incredible partner and my alter ego. Colin Campbell has been at the forefront of many initiatives that have evolved our game and have moved it forward to its stunning presence. His work with the general managers, people like David Poyle, Lou Lamoriello, Bob Gainey, Doug Wilson, Glenn Sather, Ken Holland, Jim Rutherford, Dale Talon, Harry Sinden, and the list goes on, has been extraordinary. Both Bill and Coley are great at what they do to serve the game tirelessly, and they have been wonderful colleagues and friends, so thank you. And then there's Debbie Jordan. She has worked with me for 37 years, her prison sentence is not up yet, and keeps the league office and me on track. And without acknowledging by name everyone at the league offices, and we have 3 of them, to all of you who work so hard at the league and have contributed to the growth of our game, I say none of our game's growth, and tonight for me, none of it happens without you, and I am grateful and thankful. I thank the Board of Governors, the NHL owners, for the bulk of my time as commissioner. I have had the privilege of serving with 2 incredible chairmen of the board, both Hall of Famers, Jeremy Jacobs and the late Harley Hotchkiss. They have been supportive and passionate and extremely knowledgeable about the game. The chairman and all of our owners have been driven by what is good for the game and good for the league, not necessarily what was good for their own teams. Through the years, our league has been elevated immeasurably by the board's vision and support, and that support has been consistent and unwavering, and without it, we could not have moved forward as we have. When I started this journey almost 26 years ago, I probably didn't know exactly what I was getting into, and I'm not sure that the league knew what they were going to get with me. After a lengthy process on a November day in 1992, I was the last of 5 finalists to be interviewed by the search committee that was looking for a new league leader. In a suite at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York, I met late in the afternoon with the late Mike Ilitch, Ronald Corey, Bruce McNall, the late Ed Snyder, and Peter Pocklington. About an hour after my interview, I got a call from the executive recruiter who was running the process, offering me the opportunity to run the league and outlining what would be the basic terms of my retention. Without getting overly into detail, I said, thank you, but the terms of engagement were not acceptable. It had absolutely nothing to do with compensation. Actually, it was over the duration. The league was offering a relatively short-term contract, and I was looking for a longer-term commitment so that I could begin to do the things that I knew had to be done. I actually sensed that the recruiter was somewhere between incredulous and dumbfounded. He said, but that's the offer. And I said, please tell the committee the offer is not acceptable. He called back 10 minutes later, and here we are 25 years later. The term I was looking for wasn't 25 years. But perhaps this experience was as telling for the board as it was for me. And in that context, I frequently get asked, how have you been able to work with the owners all this time? All of them are successful people, accustomed to getting what they want. An early example, in the same time frame as the last one, comes to mind. In between the time the selection committee selected me and the board election, I received a call from the late Bill Wirtz. And as many of you may recall, he had been the longtime chairman of the board before Bruce McDowell. And he had very, very, very strong opinions about everything, especially revenue sharing, which he vehemently opposed. Before deciding whether to support me, Bill wanted to know my position. We had a very brief conversation, and I told him my view. Suffice it to say, he voted for me anyway, and we ultimately initiated revenue sharing while Bill was still alive, although he would probably be stunned to see the impact that it's had on the Blackhawks. The most important rules for me in working for ownership have been, you must be open, you must be transparent and thorough, you must make decisions to the best of your abilities and for the right reasons, not political reasons. And you must always tell people the truth, even if they don't want to hear it. And the same is true with all the owners that we deal with, the executive committee members like Murray Edwards and Ted Leonsis and Larry Tannenbaum, Rocky Wirtz, Jeff Molson, Craig Leopold, Henry Samueli, Jeff Vinnick, Mark Chipman, and the other 21 owners as well. I learned these commissioner lessons in my prior job in sports under the Dean of Modern Commissioners, David Stern. He and my other mentor, the late George Gallants, a fabulous, smart, and intense lawyer, showed me how to be a professional and how to handle myself and be straightforward, particularly in difficult situations. And while thanking the owners, an important part of this magical weekend here in Toronto has been the hospitality and friendship of Judy and Larry Tannenbaum. So thank you. I consider myself incredibly fortunate to work at something I love every day. I get to go to hockey games anytime, anywhere, to see the best athletes in the world play the best game. I always get great seats, and I get to travel the world. I also occasionally get to meet interesting people. I've met US presidents, Canadian prime ministers, premiers, governors, mayors. I've even met the Queen of England and the President of Russia. I have a job that is incredibly challenging and intellectually stimulating, and I actually think it's fun. To be in the public eye, more than occasionally when the commentary is critical, especially in this era of social media, and to have an occupation that is more a lifestyle than a job requires a level of support at home that is extraordinary. So while I have this incredible position, the rest of my life is even more incredible. I have a great family and great friends so add a great job. I have a pretty great life. I'm surrounded by friends, more than a fair number of whom made their way here for this weekend and tonight. They have all been incredibly supportive to me and, more important, to my family. Some are newer relationships developed later in life, and some of these friends even go back almost 50 years to our time at Cornell. All of them, and my brother Jeffrey, who is here, put up with me despite the demands and the distractions of my schedule and what I do. They tolerate my compulsions and my obsession with my job and our game. They willingly have dinners at restaurants that will have televisions that are tuned to games for me to watch. And they put up with my absent-mindedness, flexible scheduling, and disappearing acts. I want all of you to know how grateful I am for you being here, sharing these special times, and for being a part of our life. And by our, of course, I mean Shelley, my beautiful wife of 43 years. We have 6 terrific children, all of whom we are incredibly proud. 3 by birth and 3 by their marriages: Lauren, Brian, Jordan, Lauren, Brittany, and Weston. And among them, they have 5 children, our grandchildren: Matthew, Zoe, Elodie, Blake, and Madeline. All 11 of them are the true lights of and most important people in our lives. Shelley makes it all work. She is a phenomenal wife, mother, and grandmother, and she covers my disappearing acts and my frequent acts of parental and family malpractice. She is our family glue, particularly when I'm traveling, or more important, when I'm here, but I'm not really here because I'm distracted. She keeps my life and our family running. She is everything I could want in a life partner. She gives me the deepest love and support, literally beyond belief. And she is incredibly smart and strong and provides me with the strength to do what I do, especially when I have to make hard and sometimes unpopular decisions. It's probably no coincidence that she was a psychotherapist, because she is great at keeping my head on straight and right-sized. In short, she is what makes me tick and knows what makes me tick. I sort of know what makes her tick. We've been together 47 years. She was 17 and I was 19 when we first met. And I'm pretty certain she's not gonna like this, but Shelley, would you and all 6 kids stand up, please, and Matt and Zoe, come on. Thank you, and I love you all tonight and every night, but tonight is as much about you as it is about me. So being here tonight honors everyone I mentioned, everyone in my life. It celebrates everything that our league, our teams, and our players have accomplished. It reaffirms my commitment to the pursuit of even greater excellence, and it reinforces my pride in what we stand for as a league. It is also a recognition of the fact that our game, our teams, and our players have the best fans in all of sports, period. And to be sure, our teams, our players provide world-class competition and entertainment for our fans, but at least as meaningful to me is what our league and our teams and our players do off the ice, devoting countless hours and efforts in support of a number of initiatives that make a difference in a community and make a difference in people's lives, including Hockey Fights Cancer, NHL Green, and Hockey is for Everyone. We are and we will remain committed to pursue the growth of these important initiatives. Next February 1st marks the 26th anniversary of my first day as commissioner. To become commissioner of one of the 4 major North American sports leagues was, and frankly still is, unimaginable. In the collective history of the 4 leagues spanning more than 400 years in the aggregate, only 30 people have served their leagues as either a commissioner or president. As I am honored here tonight to join my predecessors in the hall, Frank Calder, Red Dutton, Clarence Campbell, and John Ziegler, I think about the evolution of our league, our 31 teams, our outdoor games, the receptions our game receives around the world. I look at our growth in places like California and Tennessee and Florida and Texas and Arizona, and I am more than pleased that we've returned to Winnipeg. I look at the coverage of our game and our media partnerships and so much new participation at the grassroots level of hockey. I marvel at the speed and the skill of our game today and the way it has evolved. I also look at social media that has an audience for us in the tens of millions and think about how the world is changing. I became commissioner 11 years before the introduction of Facebook and 14 years before the iPhone. I do, however, look back far less fondly on the work stoppages. They were not a first choice, but a last resort. But even in retrospect, regrettably, there was no other way to secure the stability, competitiveness, and strength our league enjoys today. While I strive for perfection every day in everything we do at the league, it's not always possible for that perfection to be attained, but we will not stop trying. Late in the evening, on the day I was elected commissioner at the board meeting in December of 1992, I strolled into the bar at the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach and was greeted by someone who was then a general manager. He's known to be quite outspoken and a good friend, but Brian Burke and I were not yet acquainted. Brian started the conversation like this: "Boy, are they gonna love you." I probably said, "Huh," but for purposes of the story, I said, "What did you mean?" And he said, "You're an American, a New York lawyer, and you're short and from basketball." Well, all of that was true. The fact that he would actually say that surprised me. Well, it's almost 26 years later, and tonight especially, and perhaps I'm an acquired taste, I guess the theys have finally learned to love me, and I am grateful for that. And I do have a confession to make. I don't love being commissioner as much as I used to. I actually love it even more. So for those of you who think at this reflective moment I might be getting ready to retire, forget it. It's an honor to continue to serve our sport and all the wonderful people associated with our game, all the players and the teams and league personnel and our fans. I am grateful for all hockey has given to me and my family. And while all the previous induction ceremonies I've attended have been memorable, for me, this one will be unforgettable. And maybe in the next 25 years, I hope I will be lucky enough to actually process what has happened tonight. Thank you.